folks, you might want to take a few notes today. I'm going to give some notes on the paper. And understand that when you're doing a large project, like a research paper, or when I was writing a chapter in this book on film studies, that it's a compilation process, like a snowfall or a coral reef. If you just do a little bit every day, you'll find that it adds up. In fact, that's true of anything. If you want to get good at something, just devote even 20 minutes a day to it. You want to become a great guitarist? 20 minutes a day. You want to learn Ukrainian? 20 minutes a day. You want to become a millionaire? 20 minutes a day. It doesn't sound like it's enough, but what really makes it work is that daily application. Who wins wars? The infantry. Pound the ground. Boots on the ground, one foot after another. My own teacher, the novelist Harry Crews, and this is what you might call a quota system, he used to say, just give me the next 500 words, Lord, I ain't greedy. All right? Because 500 words a day, 100 days in a row, that's 50,000 words. That is a book-length manuscript. Right there you go. How do people write books? That's how. 500 words, that's not much. That's about 2 typewritten pages, 3 if there's dialogue. So work on it just a little bit every day and it adds up. Now, when it comes to secondary sources, this is what's known as expert opinion. And again, it's why law schools like English majors, because you are the primary source. You are stating your thesis, why this is the career for you, mind, body, spirit, or if that's your thesis, you're the primary source. But the way that you back that up, that's a process of compilation. That's a process of what I would call cherry picking. You're going around to these other sources and you're using them to establish your credibility, right? In other words, if I was a lawyer trying a case, I might say to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, here's my client. He lost part of his arm in a train accident. Show him your stump, sir. Show him your stump. Each member of the jury. $10 million, by the way, I'm the attorney. I'll get a third of that, all right? The jury's not entirely convinced because I've said it's really hurting him. So I'm going to bring in my doctor, all right? She's my expert witness, going to testify that he's hurting every day of his life. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Make it 20 million. Again, I get a third of that. All right? If I'm the personal injury attorney. Right? Chasing that ambulance. I kid. What do we call 500 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. No, that's not true, because how do you defend somebody who's guilty? You don't ask, number one. And number two, before he's guilty, he's a citizen of the United States and is protected by this Constitution. So when people ask defense lawyers, how can you defend somebody who's guilty? Listen, before any of that, he's a citizen of the United States with rights that have to be protected. Somebody's got to keep the cops honest, right? Because otherwise, if I'm Sergeant McCluskey and I need a promotion, maybe I'll just jump in that little bag of coke in your trunk. Oh, mind if I search your car? What's the answer to that, by the way? You mind if I search your car?
You don't have a warrant.
You don't need to say that. No, you may not. Also, during any traffic stop, you can also ask, can I leave? Can I leave? Just be polite. I mean, don't be obnoxious about it. You can always ask a police officer, can I leave now? Don't ask, am I under arrest? don't put any suggestions out there. Am I free to go? What's the answer to this question? Do you know how fast you were going?
The speed limit.
Say it. Isn't that your job? No, don't say that. Are you a public servant, officer? Yeah. Well, then check my oil. Don't do that. The point is, don't answer those questions, right? The police officer, she's doing her job, and it's a hard job. It's low pay. People are always drunk. They're always, it's a hard, difficult job for the most part. So a little bit of sympathy for them. But on the other hand, don't you go providing evidence. You get pulled over, zip it. Something bad goes down around you, zip it. All you need to say is yes, no, and my attorney will be very concerned. Yes, no, my attorney will be very concerned, all right? And, or not even yes, no, just I'm going to exercise my constitutional right to remain silent. That's all. Anyway, I digress. So, follow the recipe. The paper is a process. Each assignment builds on the last, so just follow the recipe. And I really believe in this quota system. Whether you want to lose weight, play the guitar, save money, just a little bit every day, you'll be astonished at how it adds up. And in particular, and I say this as somebody who's not a morning person, try to use the mornings. Try as soon as you wake up. That's great time. For the love of God, stay away from social media. This is my opinion. I would treat social media like alcohol if I were you. Don't be having a drink before 5 in the afternoon. It's a little early to be doing a tequila shot, isn't it? Okay, I'm all about partying, but it's noon, man. You know, don't be getting into that. Because you get into social media too soon, you know what can happen. It can be a stone in your shoe all day. Put that at the end of the day. All right. What I want to talk about, I'm going to build on last time, is this distinction between public and private schools. I'm not knocking private schools. I just want you to realize that they are for profit. They're businesses. They're designed to make money. This is not that, all right? This is a public college. I'm a product of public school education. I went to a New York State public school. I went to the University of Florida, and I teach here. All public education, right? I have had some experience in private schools. FIT, all right, Florida Tech, is a private school down the street here. Now, for undergraduates, people in college, unless you're independently wealthy, I just don't see the value. I just don't. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. Our adjunct faculty, that is to say the people who don't have tenure, who teach her part-time, particularly in math and science and chemistry, guess where they moonlight? Down at Florida Tech. Do you think Florida Tech advertises that to their students who are paying 60 grand a year in tuition? Hey, guess where your math prof also teaches? Down the street at EFSC, the same guy. They're paying astronomical tuition down there. So for undergraduates, I just don't see the purpose. However, when you go on to grad school, I taught at Tulane in New Orleans, tuition there was about 8 grand a semester or something. I don't know anything close to that, $8 a semester. But they waive it for graduate students because I taught there, so tuition was waived, right? So this does not apply to grad school, all right? Because they usually are going to give you a job as a research assistant, teaching assistant, and they'll waive tuition, and maybe you'll even make money. So I'm really just talking about college here, undergraduate. How do you know if it's a public school? It will have the name of the state, like California State, Florida State, Colorado State, or it will be University of, and then the state name, California or Colorado. So those are state schools, right? A lot of students think that they pay to go here. If you're paying in-state fees, you're only paying about 20% of the cost to go in here. Taxpayers, the state of Florida picks up to 80%. So in that sense, you're all on scholarship. Now, do y'all know what this is? Have you heard this? Reverse engineering? Let me know what that is. Reverse engineering is? Yeah.
It's basically taking something that's complete and breaking it down to like its most simplest parts for you to understand.
Yeah, exactly. So if, I brought in a lovely prop today. This is the little model of my motorcycle, a Honda 250. And if Nomar and I are gonna have a motorcycle company, right? We're gonna build motorcycles. If we just start from scratch, the drawing board, that's going to be really difficult, right? Building it from the ground up. It would be a lot easier if we do what's called reverse engineering. And this is a little shady on the side here because you can get some illegalities. But so let's go buy a brand new Honda 250. And then we're going to reverse engineer it. So now what Nomar and I are going to do, I love that little props. Oh, I'm breaking it here at the same time. Is take this thing apart. Take the wheels off, take the spokes off, take the engine apart, bit by bit by bit by bit, and then we'll fabricate all the parts and we'll put it back together and we'll change one little thing on the clutch lever here. And now it's the David Nomar 250 motorcycle. We changed one thing, we reverse engineered it, all right? What I'm gonna show you now is how to do that with a private school. Now the example I'm gonna use here is the Savannah College of Art and Design. If you're an artsy person, this would be right up your alley. I think it's like 80 grand a year in tuition. It's insanely priced. But if you think this doesn't apply to you, this method will still work. I just happened to choose this kind of a college. It could just as easily have been Embry-Riddle, which is an aeronautical university, right up the street here, all right? So let me show you what I mean by reverse engineering. It's this sort of a process. What you would do is, you have your idea of what your career is gonna be, right? You have your idea of your area of specialization. But now you're wondering, but how do I put it together though, right? I mean, you can't expect the advisors downstairs to know everything. There's just too vast. Medical field alone is vast. So you're going, how am I gonna do it? Have you guys ever heard of this? There's a job in France. It's called being, I'm not making this up, it's called being a nose. Ever heard about this? You work in perfumeries or wineries, right? French people are really connoisseurs of living well. And so if you have a really good sniffer, you can get a job in a perfume factory or in a winery, etc. But you need some qualifications. So let's say that's your thesis. I want to become a nose. I want to become a nose in France. I want to become a designer of custom perfumes in Paris, France. Now there's a specific career. You're going, but I live in West Melbourne. Seems like a long way from West Melbourne and my job at the Waffle House to designing perfume in Paris. Theory, practice, how do I bridge that gap? Don't reinvent the wheel. You don't have to build the whole motorcycle. You only have to build the clutch lever. So we go to some fancy pants private school, like SCAD. This is their website. And we're just gonna browse around some of their programs. And you can tell this is a rich kid's school. I love some of the majors here. Accessory design, acting, advertising, animation, architectural history, architecture, art history, business of beauty and fragrance. We'll come back to that. Creative business leadership. This seems interesting to me. Design for sustainability, design management, dramatic writing, and this one just kills me. Equestrian studies. You think it's a rich kid's school? What's your major? Equestrian studies. How many horses do you have? Fashion marketing and management, and this one killed me too. Fibers. I'm majoring in fibers. I'm taking a minor in lint. All right, I kid though. That's all right. Let's go back. Let's go back and look at becoming a nose. How do we become a nose? Well, if you go talk to one of our advisors or to UCF, they're probably not going to know much about that, and that's not their fault. That's just so specialized. So here we are cherry picking. Here we are compiling. Let's see what Savannah College of Art and Design says. Hey man, look at this. They just gave away the store. They just gave you the roadmap. Bachelor of Fine Arts in Business of Beauty and Fragrance. The foundation studies. Drawing, form and space, design, elements and organization, 3D space. Gen Ed, you could pretty much guess these. Marketing, economic principles. But then here's the major curriculum. Beauty and fragrance through the ages. Digital presentation techniques.
fashion merchandising, retail buying simulation, private label product development. Who knew? Beauty and fragrance marketing and management, brand management for global markets, future of shopping, retail innovation for customer empowerment. See, you're not going to think of that stuff on your own, are you? And you say, well, yeah, that's great, but that's all up there in Savannah for 80 grand a year. Doesn't matter. You find your major like this, and then write all this down. And then you go bust out that UCF catalog, which you know you're going to get into, and find those course equivalents. Build your own program, or find the one that is the closest to what you want to do. Now keep in mind, you're not going to be the only ones who thought of this. A few other people didn't take the class online and got clued in. So these are like 7th row Taylor Swift tickets. When these classes open, when registration opens, you are there at midnight, ready to pounce. Because the really production design for customer experience, the UCF equivalent like that, you best believe it's going to sell out. So you got to be ready to go at 12:01 and register, just like you're buying a concert ticket, so you don't get shut out. All right, so there is, so whatever your field is, you just do this, reverse engineer, and then after this, it gets even better. You say, well, what do I do after that? Where do I take all this? Careers, what do you do in beauty and fragrance? Become a brand manager, a sales development manager, a supply planning director, a beauty business and fragrance professionals. You don't want to do it on your own? Okay, here's some of the names that they're called. A brand marketing associate, a global product marketer, a social media and marketing associate, a package development associate, travel retail marketing associate. Where do I apply? Bloomingdale's, Burberry, Chanel, Donna Karan, Estee Lauder, Lancome, L'Oreal, all these different companies. And so there are a bunch of places where you could apply and send out some cover letters requesting internships, reviews, and so on. And by the way, I knew I was going to talk about this today, and I wrote a joke on the way to work based on this. You guys want to hear it? Paris came out with the worst idea ever for a perfume. You know what it's called? It's called Elon Musk. And it's guaranteed to repel women for 100 yards in every direction. I thought that. Okay. Okay. So how do you get the attention of these people? You know, when I was a kid, and we all had landlines, when the phone rang, get the phone! Drop what you're doing! Answer the phone! Everybody's running for the phone. And then when somebody answered, is it for me? Who's it for? Who's it for? We want to get the phone. Today? Oh no, somebody's calling. Block them, stop them. Text, don't answer. Email, spam, trash, block. Don't talk to me. Hi. This is our world now. So, how do you do that? How do you get past, in sales, it's called the screen. If she wants to talk to you, he's the executive, and you want to sell him some merch, but I'm his secretary. I guard his time. You got to get past me, and chances are you're going to get talked to the hand. So you're like, but I know he'd be interested. You won't let me? Nope, that's my job. Nope, sorry. You'll get to it. That happens all the time. So how can you do an end run around that? I'm going to connect you with some old, really old school tech, but this is outlier stuff and it will work. Have you ever heard, and let me ask a question first here, and no shame in answering this, because I had a very, very bright friend of mine ask me the other day a question about this. How many people in here have never mailed an actual snail mail letter? Everybody's mailed a snail mail letter? Okay, great. This friend of mine, he was a medical student, and he came up to me at the gym. He said, hey, David, I don't think this is weird, but I have to mail this letter, and how do you do that? I said, just write Steve on an envelope, put it in the post office knows where everybody lives. And they know. No, they don't. All right? So what do you do? What do you do? Self-addressed stamped envelope.
It is known in the trade as an SASE. That is self-addressed stamped envelope. So what is all this for? This is to find a mentor. This is to find the master to you who is the apprentice. How does it work? I have written a small letter here. I use this example from my film class. It says, "Dear Mr. Quentin Tarantino, I've been a fan of your films for many years. I'd be very interested in doing an internship. I can do anything you like, pull wire, set lights. I'll be in California this summer. Anything, information you could offer me, greatly appreciated. Best, your name." All right, that's all it needs to say. And then comes the SASE. Wrote my name and my address on here. It has a stamp, you'll note, and then that's my own return address on there. Don't staple it. Nobody likes to undo a staple, right? Just paper clip it or don't even attach it. Fold it over like so. This is your self-addressed stamped envelope. Put it in here, and off it goes to Mr. Tarantino. Where do you get the address? You noodle around on the internet, there are services, or if it's somebody in show business, or even somebody rich, a business person, just send it to the address that's listed on their last bit of product. If it's a boat somebody made, whatever it was, there will be a business address. It might not be a personal address, but there'll be a business address. And then you use this abbreviation, CO, that means care of, care of. So in this example, it would just be Quentin Tarantino, care of Paramount Studios, Hollywood, California, all right? Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once you have put a stamp on this and sealed it, it's the property of the federal government. It is illegal, it's a felony for anybody but Quentin Tarantino to open this now, all right? Once I've stamped it and dropped it in the postal system. The other thing is, the post office will work amazingly hard to deliver the letter. They will track your master down, right? And they will deliver that letter. And there's something else funny about this. Chances are you're approaching somebody older, all right? More from my generation. So Tarantino gets your letter, reads it. Now, if you would send an email, delete, text, delete, assuming you even have the right address. But now there's this. You tell me, why is he not likely to go, fuck that thing? Why are we not going to do that? Especially my generation. Yeah, no, Martin?
I mean, that's kind of what you guys grew up with. You don't see them anymore as much.
Yeah.
You're not standing next to a trash can.
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's one over there, that circular file with a plastic liner. It's more a little bit of superstition. This came from a young person, like I used to be once. There's also an outlier. They must have talked to somebody. How did they know to do an SASE? They talked to somebody. They didn't think that up on their own. And there's just a little bit of superstition. Because if I can some young person's dreams, oh, there goes my Oscar. That's gone. It's just, oh, that is bad luck, man. That is bad luck. I don't know anybody, I don't care if you're a hedge fund billionaire, that wants to throw away, because that's got a perfectly good stamp on it. And don't type your address. Print it so it's obviously not a machine. I'm telling you, there's a force to this. There's no email or text or any electronic communication that's going to have the force of your letter and your envelope. So at the very least, hey, it's just like you know, I like this too, when you go to the beach and you see that guy who's got like 20 lines, and you want to go, dude, they're selling salmon at Publix for $12.99. He's buying bait. I love it when guys are buying bait that's $8 a pound to catch whiting that's $4 a pound. You just eat the bait. But the point is, if he's got 20 poles, you're probably gonna catch a fish. You want to date this weekend? Ask out 20 people. It's just certain odds. So these are just lines in the water, and it has worked. Before he passed away, one of my film students got a letter back from Robin Williams. Didn't have anything for him, but he got an autograph out of it. So that's kind of interesting. So consider, I'm just saying, it's a possible end run around it. All right, so that is reverse engineering. Let's take a minute, and if you will just, let's see, where are we now? Go ahead, I'm going to reorganize a few things here and dig out your title and your motivator for this paper. I'm going to talk about it in just a minute. The title should be in this format. If you haven't done it already, I'll give you a few minutes to construct it now. That's how I'll do the roll today. The title, the beginning of it, should be the objective correlative. We talked about that in terms of fiction. It is simply the object that correlates. I wrote the mock paper about becoming a magician, so my objective correlative, the part of the title which is showing, I might call it the black top hat. All right? And then colon, my career as a Las Vegas magician. So the first part of the title is imagistic and showing, and the second part of the title is specific and telling. So that's my title. Objective correlative image showing, colon, my career as a Las Vegas magician, telling, that's very specific. We know what it's about, all right? As far as motivators go, remember, in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. Online, it's known as clickbait. So don't be afraid to be provocative. Your motivator can be opposite opinion. Many people say flossing is a waste of time. These people, however, are wrong. As a result, I intend to market my organic dental floss far and wide. I don't know, okay, you're gonna become a dental floss magnate. All right? Opposite opinion. Grab somebody's attention. Say the opposite. Compelling statistic. College graduates make $1 million more at least over the course of a lifetime than college graduates. They also live longer. That's statistically proven. College graduates live by a decade longer than non-college graduates. You might start with that, or you might start with an interesting statement, as I did on the mock paper, which was, I remember my father used to say, if you don't do your homework, David, you're gonna end up digging ditches, all right? So that's our motivator. So go ahead and get those two things together right now, your title and that first sentence of the paper. That's gonna be your motivator, right? Or your journalism, sometimes they call it the teaser, all right? Go ahead and get those two things together. I'll take the roll that way. I'll take about 5 minutes to do that, and then I'll talk about